When I was doing my training as an RSD instructor, my verbal game was pretty disgusting. All I would do is use breaking for rapport, commanding tonality, good eye contact, and caveman hose off the dance floor. But if you put me in a situation like a lounge or some quieter environment, I'd basically just say, "Hey, so how's your night going?" And it wouldn't really go anywhere. And I did all my demos on the dance floor, all my demos when I'm on boot camp, showing them how good I am. So I had to cultivate more of the verbal game side of things. And I remember during my training, I was in New York specifically, when Ryan helped me out, because I would say things to the girls like, "You're crazy, you're trouble, you're bad news." And they would laugh, "Ha ha 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 ha." It's this funny chick crack stuff, this old pickup routine shit almost. And for whatever reason, it worked. And they're always asking, "Why am I trouble? Why am I trouble? Why am I bad news? Ha 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 ha." And in my head, I'm thinking, "You're not trouble. I don't know why I just have nothing else to say." So I came up with the concept of the spectrum of authenticity. And what the goal is to move more towards, if you have an onion, you want to move towards the seed of the onion, whatever there is no bottom, I guess, to the onion. That's almost getting philosophical. But on the surface, if let's say number 10 is on the surface and you have, "You're crazy, you're trouble." Well, why am I saying that? I'm saying you're trouble because I think you're cute. So if a 10 is your trouble, your cute is like a 7. Why do I think she's cute? Because I really like her eyes. And I like that dress. It's just like a hot looking dress, makes her ass look nice. So if 7 is cute, that's like a 4. Let's say she has a nice ass in that dress. And like a 2 or a 1 would be, just because I want to see those eyes when I'm pinning you down against the ground on the bed and getting really unapologetically sexual with it. So the more I can move things away from the 10 range and the playful, gamey, ha 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 ha, into the 2 to 3 to 1 range, where I'm just saying it how it is, that raw, intent, primal, sexual drive type shit, that's what's going to make her think, "Damn, this guy is just an asshole," and the good type of asshole, where she's like, "This guy will not judge me. We can hook up. I totally want to get with him. He won't even care. This is no big deal. He's completely comfortable with this." And he just says it like it is. He says it the real deal shit. Of course, at the beginning of the night when it's 10:30 and I'm talking to the 9, the super hot 9, I'm not going to be able to go up to her and say, "Girl, I just want to take you home right now. Let's do this shit." But if we go back to the Puff Daddy mindset, or the mindset of a guy who's been with 50 girls that looks like this girl, that's how I think of myself. That's how I'll be. When I think about myself at 40, I've traveled the world, been to over 100 countries, hopefully made a couple $1,000,000, and been with hundreds of women or so. If I see any girl, I think basically all I do is go, "Hey, cut the shit, let's go." I said, "Hey," knowing that the aura, the vibe, all the shit I've seen in the world, all the shit I've done is so kick-ass, I'm almost dumbfounded that she's going to think that she's not going to follow me and come with me. So it's like, "Hey, girl, let's do this. Get with the program. I'm trying to flirt with you. Let's get out of here." And I think that if I could do that, I talk about this now on camera, but once I get to the point where I can do that, I think that is that's like you're just at the level 1 all the time. So start moving down the spectrum, see where most of your conversation's at. I talked about in the intermediate level, having fun, being self-amusing. And I think that's great. But when you're self-amusing, you're usually just saying bullshit. As you get more into the advanced one night stand, this is going to happen now, just oozing sexuality, you're going to be even away from that as much and more just in that primal, sexual, instinctual edge side of things. With being unapologetic, I think it's also good to point out a concept what I call removing the chainsaw. And I got this example from when I was learning about public speaking, and they talk about how novice public speakers, let's say outside there's somebody cutting down a tree and you hear this chainsaw and it's just going, the novice public speaker, what he'll do is he'll just try talking over the chainsaw, talking louder, and everyone in the room is just thinking, "Doesn't he know there's a chainsaw outside? I can't even hear him. Does he know it's there?" And they're just thinking about it and thinking about it. So what you got to say is, "Hey, I know there's a chainsaw outside. We're just going to talk over it. Hopefully it'll end. I have some great things to talk about here. Let's just keep going." And everyone in the audience thinks, "Oh, he knows. Thank God." And it goes away. So you don't want to deny the obvious. If let's say you're the guy and you have a big ass like facial mole on your face, you know when you're talking to the girl and she's looking at the mole and you're trying to ignore it and you're getting more in your head, you might as well just say, "Oh, I see you recognize the mole. Yes, I have that there." Anyway, and she starts thinking, "Oh, he knows he has a giant mole on his head." State the obvious, whatever thing you have going on there. If somebody spilled a drink on you, you might as well just bring it up instead of trying to hide it and work through it. And this ties back again to what I was talking about in the mindset section here of calling the girl out. If all of a sudden, usually what happens, guys, they're trying to get that good reaction and there's this chasing, this like grabbing feeling, and they're just trying to get the girl and trying to get good reactions instead of just putting it out there. Just saying, "Hey, I'm trying to flirt with you. Be normal. I'm cool. Don't worry. Hey, I'm normal. Yes, this is my friend. I'm normal. Just be cool. Act right. All right, let's have a normal conversation. I'm a cool guy. You're a cool girl. And just let it flow." This gets into how the plowing goes down at this stage. Again, relating back to the girls that just don't talk. I'm just going to plow and be like, "Hey, you know what? I'm fucking cool. We could have a really great conversation here. Oh, you don't want to talk? That's fantastic. Luckily, I love the sound of my own voice and I'll keep talking, but it's too bad. We could have just such a great conversation and you're just standing there trying to be all mean and shit. That's cool. I can be mean too sometimes. I don't really like a girl that's mean all the time. Are you always mean? You're not even going to respond to that. You're not responding to anything here, huh? That's too bad. Really? You're not going to respond at all? And I'll just plow, and plow on basically what's going on right there, as opposed to plowing about like, "Oh, this is my night. Da, 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 da. I'm just trying to keep this going. Please respond well." I'm saying it how it is. And if she doesn't realize that, at some point, I'm just going to think, okay, she's stupid here, and I'm going to move on. I just don't want to compromise my own value long enough. Guys ask, how long should you wait? How long should you stick in there? How long should you plow? Well, how hot is she? If she's hot enough, I'll give her a couple minutes. If she's some average girl, some troll, I'm just going to walk away pretty quickly. This is also the stage where you're going to want to get the girl chasing you more, gaming you, and getting her to invest in the interaction. I always feel at the end of the night when I take the girl home, I don't want to have that baby steps that I talk about in the intermediate level where I'm constantly trying to force her to build more compliance to make it happen. I want to be at the end of the night, instead of me pulling her pants off, she's the one ripping mine off and really excited, and we're walking home, hopping, skipping home. Like, this is no big deal. This is fun, where it's a mutual thing where we both want it. And a lot of that comes from is getting her to invest in the interaction as well. As they always say, what does everyone want from an investment? A return. So the biggest ways for me to get them to invest is, one, through the tonality. I talked about how the commanding tone gives an autopilot response where they come back at you with the "please like me" qualifying tone. So she's naturally going to qualify herself when you say something like, "Hey, who are you?" Her response will be, "Oh, my name's Sarah. I'm a nurse and I'm 24 years old. How about you?" So it gets her to respond in a way that she's qualifying herself to you in a natural way and making her so she's gaming you up. The other big one is going to be using silence. We talked about in the approach how by when you initiate, go in with the value slap and then cut it and create the space, create the vacuum. That's going to force her to respond where she feels the aura and feels the vibe, and it just sucks her in and gets her gaming you. So just get her to do some of the talking too. Another thing I see a lot of advanced guys do for a self-amusement is forcing shit tests. I've had my mentor did this a lot. I see Tyler and Julian do this a lot. And what this is where you over-calibrate and you do something that is actually not calibrated, and you push it and almost you fuck it up on purpose, and then you bring it back. So let's say you're talking to the girl and you stare at her boobs for a while and she sees it and she's kind of pissed off, but you push through it. So the fact that you're comfortable dealing with that resistance and her getting all emotional, it actually ends up conveying more value than if you just talked to her and it went well. Same thing, you get physical, you pull her in, try to make out with her. She's like, "What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?" And you just sit there and laugh at her. She's going to start thinking, this guy doesn't even give a fuck. He doesn't care at all. And it seems like because he's doing this and he's so comfortable with it, most girls must respond well. I must be the weird one. And it conveys so much value because you're so comfortable with it. And it gets her very emotional at the very beginning. And it's very polarizing to where you'll get the girl that's down really quickly. A lot of times attraction amps up so quick that I think guys have problems with this. A good scenario is when you're on the dance floor, you meet a girl and you get that instant makeout where you're kissing her just right away, just makeout session. And what happens is, I remember this happened on my boot camp where I was there, I see the girl and Alex is like, "Oi, it's time to go for instant makeouts." And I had never done it before. That was my amazing Australian accent there. And I see some girl, boom, I go in, I get it, we kiss. And then all of a sudden in my head, I think, Now what do I do? Should I keep making out with her? Should I talk to her? We're on the dance floor and I end up just running away, running to the bathroom. I see her later and she's pissed at me because she thinks I don't like her or something. But in my head, I was just thinking, I don't know what to do. So what do you do? When it ramps up that quickly, you just have to go with that flow. You have to keep it on that same slope and keep amping things up. If you don't amp it up, the only other thing you can do is lead. And then when you get in a different environment, then you can switch it up. So if you're in that environment, you're like, oh, make out. So where are you from? It's just, even though it's the conversation is higher than it was as if you normally go in, she feels any sort of drop, and she feels that drop is, this is icky feeling. So what you got to do is ramp it up. Boom, grab her other hand. Hey, come with me. Boom, you move her to the bar area or to the couch. And then because you're in a new environment, you can go into normal comfort building mode of, oh, hey, so how's your night going? Da, 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 and keep it going that way. I think at this stage of the game, it's also important to know when to qualify the girl. I haven't talked about that at all because I don't think it's really important until you're coming across as a very high value, awesome dude. Back when I was more into the pick-uppy, gamey side of things, I'd think about a couple ways to qualify the girl. So I'd think, okay, what are 3 things I like about her that I can say to make her feel that I like, so she knows that I like her. That's basically what qualification is. You qualify her for being the type of girl you like. Now all I do, that is on my qualification, I just say, I like you. This is fun. That's all you really need. Or just say exactly, again, the spectrum of authenticity here. Say things, authentic compliments, and just that you're enjoying the moment is plenty to get her to like you. And I think at this point it is necessary to qualify the girl somewhat. I've read stories about how Ashton Kutcher and Brad Pitt, when they had mistresses and they cheated on their wives and stuff, and they'll be explaining, the mistress will be explaining how Ashton Kutcher said how he loved animals or some shit and how he really cared about her. And as I was reading it, I was thinking, oh my God, he's totally qualifying her because he's so high value because he's a celebrity that he needs to bring her up to her level because she probably doesn't even think she can get with a guy like him. So I see probably just from intuitively they've been with enough women that they know they have to do that to get the girl. It's pretty kick-ass. And you're going to be coming across just as that high value guy. So it is important to qualify her. I think a good indicator too here, normally we'll talk about this in the end game section, but something I remember Tyler taught in the hot seat, the first hot seat, is there's one point where he's going for the girl's number and she says no. And there's 2 different reasons why she would say no. The one is she doesn't have enough attraction. And if you're a newbie, you probably don't have enough attraction. But as you get to the advanced stage, she likes you enough, but she thinks you're not even going to call. And this is where I was saying before in the intermediate section, how sometimes you go for the number and you get it, but if she flakes the next day, and that's because you didn't push it, and she starts rationalizing that you probably didn't like her anyways, and you wanted to ditch out and go back to her friend or your friends, so you didn't even like her, and she doesn't want to be stood up again or something. So at this stage, it's the same thing. She likes you, the attraction is there, but you don't have the qualification yet. So you have to sit in there, say why you're normal, say why you like her, and then when you get that number, it's going to be a lot more solid. If you look at, as we've cultivated these more high-value traits, high-value behaviors, you start getting comfortable approaching with good tonality. You got the strong eye contact. You're calling girls out when they're not paying attention, and you're passing these shit tests and getting more unapologetic, not giving a fuck what people think. In a lot of ways, you're basically like the alpha wolf. The alpha wolf, you're better than the betas. All the betas are all submissive and sad little gray wolves, and you're the fucking alpha. You're the boss. And you tell everyone and you show everyone. But there's another level. And I think the next level is a subtlety. It's the alpha gorilla. So the silverback gorilla, what the difference is, it's between conveying and assuming. So the silverback gorilla, there's some awesome videos, and I'll post one up in the section here, about where all of a sudden another gorilla comes into his harem of hot little gorilla ladies. And all the alpha gorilla does is he kind of rolls up, stares at her, stares at the dude, backs away, and that's it. The other gorilla can see that this dude's the fucking boss, and he runs off. That assumption subtly conveys so much more than if you feel like you have to actively do these specific things to get the girl to like you. So you want to start getting to the point where you're just this subtle silverback awesomeness. One example that I like using is I was in the taxi with Tyler once. We had these 2 girls in the back seat. He was in the back seat. I was in the front seat, and we were going to the next club. And he's occupying them in the back. And my girl all of a sudden says some bullshit like, nah, 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 where are we going? Shut the fuck up, nah, nah, nah. And all I do is turn around and turn back. And I don't even think anything of it because I'm just like, bitch, shut up. We're going to the next club, chill out. And Tyler sees it and he says, oh, dude, that was so fucking pimp. And I didn't even think about it. But in my head, I was just like, bitch, act right. What's going on here? And that's that subtlety, that assumption. She stopped. She chilled out. And it conveyed so much kick-ass value that she was super excited to get to the next place with us because she knew the type of guys we were. Another example I like using is the jazz drummer. So if you think about the heavy metal guy and he's all like, oh, no, 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 no. He's all over the place and he's drumming and showing off, doing the crazy shit. We talked about this with the blues guitar player. The one guy is showing off, and then you have the jazz drummer who's just like, and he's way more proficient, way more technical, doing way more shit, way more crazy stuff. But you don't see any movement in his shoulders. Nothing is superfluous. Everything is as efficient and exactly how it needs to be. You do just enough. And that's why as we get into the end game section, we'll talk about how with physicality, a lot of times you're really going to be scaling it back. And I'll talk to you about that in the next section.